What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm out here in the shop today, this afternoon, and I'm wanting to build a hitch for my zero-turn lawnmower over here so that I hopefully can move one of these light towers around out of the shop, in the shop, and whatnot, get it in tight places till I can get the tractor, because it's pretty tight quarters in here, till I can get the tractor to it or a truck to it. It'd be a lot easier. And if it doesn't work out, well, I'll at least have a hitch on there for moving other small trailers. So it's got this shield on the back of it right here. And if you see that shop towel there, I broke the crankcase vent off. I've got a new one on order. It's just a little bushing in there, and it bolts to the engine block there. Anyway, I got a new one of those on order. But I've got some new bolts and stuff put in here. Some bolts have been missing out of here for quite a few years. And I could come off and make another totally hitch out here, separate piece, but I really don't want to go to all that trouble. This piece is, it's decently strong. I can stand on it or whatnot. It's not like we're going to be dragging a trailer down the road, or you're going to be towing a whole lot with a zero turn anyway. So it's got these 4 bars right here, 2 on each side, and then there's 2 bigger ones on the bottom that go in up under there. So what I want to do is create a hitch that bolts onto here. And they actually make, for some of the zero turns, they actually make a hitch for these. It's like 30 bucks. Bad Boy makes one for theirs. I know I seen it at Tractor Supply, but it is a really, really flimsy looking, it's a joke. It's like a 1/8 inch piece of metal that's just 2 bolts, and then it's bent, and there's like nothing to it. Like, why would that be $30? It's really thin, about like this. There's just nothing to it. So I want to make something a little heavier, because that obviously is not going to hold up for what I'm going to do. And this is not like a homeowner zero turn. This is a commercial mower. This mower was about $10,000 when it was new. It's a LZ, Husqvarna LZ 5227 is what this is. You can research it. The PZ model took the place of the LZ model and the newer ones, and then they're on to something else now. But anyway, when this thing was new, it was about $10,000. I didn't buy it new, I bought it used. And so anyway, that's the story on the mower. So I want a little heavier hitch on it, and as I say, these things are not really great for pulling anyway, but I think it should do what I want to do, at least hopefully, and that is just to move, something a short distance, 50 or 100 foot. I'm not, going to be going miles with the thing, obviously, just a short distance to get it out into an open area or get it into a tighter area, whichever. At least that's my idea. So I went to, first I was going to build it out of scrap. And so what I have here is, this is just some scrap plate I have that was left over from when I built the oxygen acetylene bottle rack on my friend's welding trailer, and just a couple scrap pieces I had left over there. So I thought, well, I could weld this up like this and cut a hole in here and put a ball in it. I'll have a hitch. And then I was going to go to Tractor Supply to get a ball to see what size hole I needed, because they make these in different diameters here. And this is a 1 inch. They make up to 1 1/4 inch, which on my vehicles I always buy the 1 1/4 inch with a solid shank. I don't buy this cheap mess because it's only rated at 6,000 pounds. But in this case, I just needed a ball for zero turn, so I was looking for a cheap ball, and they had a 2 inch ball like this, and I think they wanted $17 or $18 for the ball. And they had the hitch, the whole thing, on sale for like $25 or something plus tax. So I was like, well, it's not very much more for the whole thing. I'll buy the whole thing, and I can cut this off somehow and just weld this on there or something. That's what I had in mind, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to build this one here, and then you remove this ball, and then I'll just have a spare hitch for something that I'll likely never use, because I don't really use these cheap hitches like this, because I don't like them. Because I've seen them break before right across here where the ball is. So I always buy the solid steel forged hitches. But anyway, the price was right, so it wasn't very much more for the whole thing, and it gave me options in my project. So that's why I bought the whole thing. So I'm going to figure out what I want to do here and try to get this figured out. I've measured and decided that I'm going to have, if I use this, if I cut it off right here like I'm thinking, or was thinking, and weld this on there, I'm going to have about 1.5 inches further back on the mower. And you really don't want it to be further back, and that's the reason I'm not welding a receiver tube on there, because if you did that, the trailer hitch would be sticking out so far back, you would have so much leverage twisting on that it would pick the front tires up off the ground most definitely, and it would probably tweak that, bend it, you know, with all the stress and stuff on it. So I want to keep it up as close to it as possible, and I think the best way to do that is going to be to build this some kind of way like this, and I can get the ball up here and this will bolt straight on. That's going to give me the closest way to get this up there, at least I believe, for this application, and then I'll just have the hitch left over, I suppose. So let me kind of get things organized here and get some stuff out, and we'll kind of go from there and see what I come up with. So I've got both of these welding machines over here working. I put the new ECM on this one here, and I still have my wire feeder hooked up to there, this machine here. This is what I'm going to use to weld with, and I'm going to hook it up to this other machine here. I've got to get some the LC40 Lenco LC40 ends to make this quick connect on the ground cable and the hot wire there. So I'm gonna have to get a wrench, hook that up with the 14 pin. It's got a little notch in this that lines up somewhere there. It's a little notch, you kind of got to turn it till the notch lines up. And get the threads threaded on there so it's not cross threaded. Alright, we got that on there. And then this here is the wire going to the hot wire to my my feeder here. And they just twist and unplug. So this is going to go to the hot wire here, like that, twist in. And then we're going to turn this to CV feeder, because that's what that is a CV for constant voltage, and then feeder, your other is a voltage sensing feeder, which I do not have. But then I've got to hook up the ground wire over here, and I do not have a twist lock LC40 Lenco style to hook up the ground, so I'm going to have to undo this nut here and take off the nut here, and then I'll just put it on there, hook my ground up right now until I get one. Well guys, I do not have a drill bit the correct size or hole saw to drill a hole in this for the ball. I have 1 3/16", which is going to be a bit sloppy. So I'm looking at maybe just cutting this hitch off here, did some measuring, and maybe just whacking this off right here, and that'll give me the distance I need, and welding this on there. I don't know, it may look a little bit goofy doing it that way, but I think it'll work. So function overlooks, I guess. It may come out, it may look great, I don't know. But that's kind of my option, because I don't want to go to town and get a drill bit, buy a hole saw just for this one thing. So anyway, I'm gonna set you guys up over here. We're gonna see if we can cut this off here and see what this looks like here. Need to get me a work table one of these days. Let's see what the best way to do this is. I'm not sure. It's a little bit not in the right height to start with. We'll see. don't underestimate the power of the grinder in the Metabo wheel. So hopefully that'll give us enough distance if I put a plate here to not hit the trailer ball tongue when it slips over. It's gonna look a little bit goofy, I think, because this has got a bend in it, but it should work, I think. All right, I got it stuck in the coupler there. It appears if this is welded on a flat plate, we still got plenty of clearance right there. This hitch is a little bit snug. Probably never been used a whole bunch, but it looks like that there's enough clearance there that should work out. And that's what I want, is minimal clearance here to keep the hitch point as close to the lawnmower as possible to reduce the effect of the tongue weight on the front of the lawnmower. So I think that's going to work. I'm going to bevel the edges on this and get it set up over there to weld. Alright guys, so this is my plate of metal here. I have not cut this. It was straight out of the scrap pile, but it looks like it fits pretty good between those bolts right there. It's a piece of flat bar is what it is. And it just happens to be the right width, if I can hold on to it, to go between these bolts right here. And it looks like it was pre-cut for this application, and I just got a scrap pile over there. So anyway, I think I'm not going to do anything with it other than maybe grind the slag off this edge where it was cut last, and it should serve the purpose right there, just like that, I think. And so I have got a bevel ground on my ball hitch right here. As you see, pretty decent bevel on both sides. It should weld on here. I got to get it set up to where I can hold it steady or whatnot, and get my height right and all that, and get it tacked. So let me get things set up, and I'll be right back with you. So I've just about got it set up here, and I've measured from the floor to about where I want the height of the ball to be, and I'm thinking I should be around 15.5 plus or minus ½ inch to the top of the plate here, not the top of the ball, but the top of the plate. And by looking at these trailers here, the bottom of the coupler, that's about where they set, somewhere in there. You know, you got a little variance, an inch or so. I've got a 1/8 welding rod sitting here up under my bevel so that I can get a good root pass on that. And I've got it centered in the plate, pretty much everything squared up. So what I'm going to do is crank the welding machine up over there and see if I can get a tack on this, and then I will get it positioned in a better spot to finish welding it out. I don't want to be welding very much on the top of this. It's going to mess this up, this light tower. It's not made to weld on, but I got it set up here where I can work at a comfortable height. Then I'm going to go ahead and put some tacks on it, and then I'll relocate it to a little better spot to finish welding. The first pass, one pass on each side. We'll let it cool off a little bit, and we'll put it on a second pass, however many it takes to get it up where I want it. Probably a little bit overkill for a lawnmower, but I don't think it'll be going anywhere. I've got it finished welded there. I got to clean it up a little bit with a flap disc, get some of that stuff up there. I'm not going to touch that because it's hot. Anyway, I did wind up welding some on top of this because, well, it's so convenient. Not helping it none, but it's pretty convenient. So this plate got a little warp in it from the welding. I knew that was going to happen, but I should be able to draw it some back with the bolts and whatnot. So not too worried about that. Things looks kind of heavy duty to be going on a lawnmower. Looks like it should go on a dump truck or something, but anyway, it is what it is, and not that hard to do. So I'm gonna let it cool off some there so I don't get burned handling it, and I'm gonna clean it up with the flat disc, and then we will get it positioned on there and see what we got to do to drill some holes and get it bolted on. Alright guys, I've got this thing laid on the floor. It is still hot. I touched up where the BBs was stuck to it with a flat disc. Looks pretty good. I've got my hole center punched. It's not real critical on the spacing or anything. I mean, if they're off just a touch, 1/8 of an inch or something, it's not going to matter. It's not like they have to line up with anything. So this plate here is a little off square on this corner where it was cut with a torch or whatever, but again, that's not a big deal. I can square that up a little bit if I want to, but anyway, I'm going to start drilling the holes here. Just going to put four little bolts in it. That'll be plenty for what the purpose of this thing is. So I'm going to set you guys up over here and we'll get started drilling holes. Thing is still super hot. It's got to cool off before I can do a whole lot with it, but I'm going to start getting a hole drilled anyway. At least I think so. So this thing's still a little bit hot or warm. It's not terrible, but it's a little bit. I'm sure somebody's going to ask me why I didn't use oil on my drill bit. That's because that drill bit's kind of old anyway, and it's a small bit. And for the price, I want to paint this, so really, by the time I use something to clean it off with, probably costs about as much just to throw the drill bit away. So that's kind of why I didn't worry with it too much. So I didn't drill all the way through with this bit and touch the concrete, so hopefully it'll go through. We'll get a drilling spot here. I wish I had a clamp that was deep enough to do this with, but I don't have a C-clamp that's deep enough. The jaws ain't deep enough to go in here and clamp this, so I'm going to try to do it like this. I don't know how well that's going to work. Guess I'll have to drill through first all the way. I just want to catch. I think if we get one in there and get a bolt in it, we'll be all right. If it looks center, it is center, right? We got a dimple started there. This plate's pretty thin, so I don't see no reason to go with a pilot bit. So I'm going to put a bolt in that now, and then I'll drill the other 3 holes. Time for a battery change. Alright guys, got it all painted up here, got it looking all pretty. Not ready to put on there. I'll let that paint still a little bit tacky. Let that paint finish drying. Should be ready to put on there, ready to give her a try. Still got this little thing left over too. I don't know what to do with it. We'll put it in a scrap pile over there and might get some use out of it. I know I can use the pin out of it for sure. I'm not sure what else I might can do with the rest of that, but it might come in handy for a future project, a future day. This paint's still just a little bit tacky, but we're gonna go ahead and mount it up anyways. Tired of waiting on it. I got 2 bolts that are a little bit shorter than the other, but I think they're gonna be okay. Might not be able to get a lock washer on, but probably be alright. Get those snugged up. I think it's gonna look pretty good. All right, got her tightened down there. Looks pretty good. I like it. It doesn't stick out very far. It's as close as you could possibly get it, you know, and have room for your coupler to go over. It's not sticking out to where you're gonna hit your knee on it like a pickup or something usually is. And it's, you know, it's not sticking back, so there's gonna be a whole lot of leverage on it. It's up as close as it can and looks as neat as it can. And I think it looks rather good. I was worried about how that was going to look with the way the bend was, but you really can't tell the way I cut it off so short and time I put the well bead around it and everything. It turned out pretty good, a little better than I thought, really. I think I'm going to be pretty happy with that. Guys, I think this is going to work really good. I took it out and drove it up the steepest part of my yard. It did struggle just a little bit pulling it up, I could feel, but that thing weighs 2,000 pounds and it has about 200 pounds of tongue weight. I'm guessing it's pretty heavy to try to pick up by yourself. Somebody's got the coupler adjusted on that thing way too tight, so I'm going to have to back off this nut up under here so that this thing will latch like it's supposed to. But other than that, no real issues. I think it's going to work pretty good. I wouldn't recommend trying to tow that much with these things, but I just wanted to be able to move the thing around a little bit, and it appears that that's going to work really well. I don't think a smaller mower would do that. And it's kind of hard on your wheel motors and stuff, doing stuff like that, trying to pull stuff it's not meant to as well. But I think it's going to work out pretty good for what I wanted. I wanted to be able to, you know, maneuver that thing in the shop and outside the shop when I need to use it. And because there's not a whole lot of real easy way to get a truck hooked to it, and it weighs too much to try to pick up where you hand and try to move it around like that. And one person just ain't gonna hardly do that. So anyway, I think it's gonna do what I need to do. I like the looks of it. I think it looks really good, and it seems to work really good. So I'm gonna wrap this video up. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.